Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, The Ninja King, and today we're doing a new what if. What if Percy Jackson had a Venom symbiote? Anyways, yeah, I know I've been absent for the last 2 days, but weeks more like, so yeah, sorry about that. I'm starting to re-upload from now on. The last 2 weeks things happened, and I don't think I should waste any more time and get on with my channel's intro. In many universes across the multiverse, there are a lot of changes happening to them. But not all the times. Sometimes just small changes. For example, let's take the My Hero Academia universe. A small change like Midoriya being able to use One for All 100% of the time without any of his bones breaking can have a massive significant effect, a butterfly effect of some sort. Sometimes these changes are good. Other times there's just some stupid reasons that happen because the overseer wants to have some fun. Other time, the changes are something that completely eradicates everything else from existence. Oh boy, you don't know how many you have seen. Oh dear, I'm the overseer of this universe. I myself have forgotten what number this universe is. But personally speaking, when there's an infinite amount, you sometimes forget what numbers certain universes are. But I don't think we should waste any more time and get on with this universe. A story to be told across the multiverse of a boy named Percy Jackson, child of Poseidon, and the one who will change this world. As it was seen, as Percy woke up, it was the summer break of Nancy Academy. As he got up, he couldn't still shake up the feeling of what happened. Did someone like Mrs. Das really exist? Or was that just his imagination? Every time he asked any of his classmates, they would say no, or there is no one named Mrs. Das. He couldn't really think of it, but he could still remember her bat-like wings, her body, her movement, her flying to him, Mr. Brunner always tossing him a pen, him turning that pen into a sword and cutting it in half. Percy couldn't just shake that feeling off, could he? As he did, a certain pungent smell came from the room as he immediately closed his nose. God damn it, Percy said to himself, as he saw sitting in the couch what smell he gave. Every part of his body wanted to drown that man, kill him, stab him to death. That was someone who he wished should have died. As he walked out, not even talking to him, with him busy on his TV, he realized that his mom was up to work, so he went outside, walking away. Percy was still 12 years old, and he didn't know what he was doing in this situation. Smelly Gabe didn't even care for it any bit, so he just went out. He walked for a bit, and he walked. He walked and walked. He didn't know how long he walked for, until he reached the forest. It was odd for him because he was still in the middle of the city, a park that was designed as a forest. He went through it and sat down near a lake. For some reason, a body of water always around him made him feel happy. As he took in the smell of the forest and the water itself, he closed his eye, wondering what about something else. As he got up, he can hear something, sludging and moving up things. His head turned around, wondering what that was, before he went through it. Seeing some sort of black like goo, he decided to ignore it. As he went, didn't realize that a black like goo had just stepped into his leg. As it went into his side of his shoe, he returned, as Smelly Gabe once again berated him, asking him for his money since he was playing poker with his friends. Percy gave him the money as he left, turning to his mom. His mom was the most nicest, kindest person alive. He couldn't believe why. His father was too much of a dick, couldn't marry his mom, a coward that ran away. Or that is what Percy thought of him, at least. As Percy went, he went to his room, wanting to ignore the drowning day. He immediately went to studying. Damn ADHD, he says.
The answer is 27.
Ah! Percy screamed as he fell down, wondering where that voice came from. What the hell was that? As the voice from inside from his head spoke again.
All the people to be my perfectos. It just had to be a child. Well, I guess beggars cannot be choosers after all.
Percy looked around the room, wondering where the hell that voice came from. Where are you? Percy pulled out his pencil, ready to attack, as the boy inside of him sighed. As the voice inside of him sighs, as he basically just looks at Percy. Before, a goopy-like face comes out. As Percy was going to scream, there were tendrils wrapped around his mouth. As the voice then spoke.
Can you stop screaming? It's getting annoying. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Venom.
As the tendrils unwrapped from Percy's mouth, Percy took a breath before saying, What the hell are you, you slimy, slippery squid?
First of all, not hurt. Second of all, I'm not a freaking squid. I am a symbiote, an alien parasite. Wait, hold on.
The moment Percy wanted to scream, I don't want the parasite inside of my body, before he shut his mouth again.
Okay, I may need to rephrase that. I'm not a parasite. I'm a symbiote. Have you ever heard of the process known as symbiotism or symbiotics? Basically, where one animal helps the other animal with their life. Basically, imagine that. That is what I'm trying to do.
Percy took a deep breath before looking at him. So, you're not a monster, but instead you're an alien from outer space. Okay, how? How did it even happen? How did you come to my body?
Remember that pile of goo you stepped on? Well, that wasn't just any pile of goo. That was me. I attached to your body and found out that you were the perfect host. Actually, you were highly perfect. Which is weird. You seem to have some sort of weird mutation in your DNA. Like, half of your DNA I can sense, but the other half, there's like nothing there. What the hell?
Okay, I'm just confused. But, you know what? I don't care anymore. As Percy turns out on his bed. So, do you eat?
Yes, I do eat.
Okay, so what do you eat? I kind of need to know that. Brains. Percy tries to scream, but once again Venom covers his mouth. As he looks at him, boy, you better not do that or else I'll rip your ass kind of face. As he basically listens to him. Okay, so that's gonna be a problem. Maybe it's something in the brain that you eat? As Venom just looks at him, blinks for a bit before just in his face he says, "You're smart?" Before you give me the "I'm smart" look, no. Because if you said it's the brain, it's not like it has to technically be the brain, right? Percy says, not knowing where the hell he's pulling this knowledge out from. Maybe it's a certain chemical? He once again is saying words he doesn't even know. Help me? He says to Venom, as Venom basically just looks at him before he answers.
Fine. It's not the brain necessarily, but a very specific amount of it. It's called phenethylamine.
I don't even know what that is. God. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to know what kind of things produce that? If it's only the brain, I don't want to eat human brains. Percy says to
Listen, just look into some books. Maybe they will help you.
I have dyslexia and ADHD. What do you expect me to do with these? Look through hundreds of books, science books that are probably not even at my level, trying to read them?
Well, crap bastards.
Guess I was a student. Percy says, probably just need to ask my mom for a phone and time to go. As Percy asks his mom, Sally, for a phone, Sally gives Percy the phone as Percy then takes it and sets it up full of enemy sources. He gets the brain as it, but he finds out some other things do happen. Apparently, one of the things are chocolate. Percy says, not believing what he just said, as he sighs for a bit before he looks at Venom. Are you okay with becoming a vegan?
Whatever keeps me alive, kid. Whatever keeps me alive.
Oh, thank God. Immediately he says that he feels wrong for saying God, almost like it's meant to be plural, but he doesn't care as he gets up. Alright, so what can you do? As Venom sighs, ready to explain his abilities and powers. And after an hour of explanation, so that's all of your abilities? Venom nods inside of Percy's head. Alright, so I'm gonna go to sleep. As they arrived to the cabin, Percy sat next to his mom. As his mom and told him the story of how he met his dad. Even Venom was intrigued. Hearing the story and hearing the word God, it immediately sent Venom a chill down his spine. Immediately, he wondered if a certain man, not a man, but a certain God from his own symbiotic legends, the King in Black, his necro sword, and even the dragon himself. He shaked his feelings up, knowing those were just legends from his story. But Percy couldn't believe one word of it. He immediately got up, saying to his mom he knows that it's not special. He knows that it's different. His mom doesn't need to tell him lies like this. But as then came in Grover, Venom already knew who he was by checking Percy's memories. But seeing that the kid has goat legs kind of confused him. And it also did Percy because, well, he wasn't expecting his friend to have goat legs. And after that, they got into the car. So Percy finally figured out that these myths were actually real. So, you're telling me all the Greek things in the world are real? That's correct. Venom spoke inside of Percy. Should we go for it? As immediately Venom came out. onto Percy, and it made Grover scream, and so did Sally, but she kept on the stair. What the hell is that? Okay, it's a long story, Percy said, looking at Venom. Venom, would you kindly explain to them?
Sure, Percy. Well, let's go with this, I guess. Hello there, I am Venom.
As Venom proceeds to tell them about how he's the alien parasite that came from space, who has found Percy as a host, and even other things like what the diet he eats. Oh boy, Mr. Cowan's not gonna like this. Mr. Brunners? What does he have to do with this? Oh boy, haven't you not realized? Percy would realize. He's a mythological creature just like you, isn't he? Immediately Percy would think for a bit, remembering at one of the classes and about centaurs, and he's a centaur, isn't he? Wow, you put two and two together? But how? Don't know. Venom wouldn't look at him, probably because of him. I don't know. He has been jacking my brains with something, I don't know.
You're making it sound like I injected you with something. For your knowledge, I haven't. I've been trying to give you as much information as I can from my other hosts so that you can be at least smarter. Boy, you're one of the most dumbest hosts I have ever had in my life.
Huh. Well, damn, I guess. Percy says before sighing. Right, at least things cannot get any worse, can it? As Grover looks at him. I don't think you should be saying that. As immediately the car flips and Percy gets hit. As Grover gets himself knocked out, as he then pulls out his mom and they start to drag him to the camp. Come on, Percy, we need to go, his mother says, as then they hear a roar from the other side. Turning their head, they see a half beast, half bull. As Percy was shocked, and so was his mother. They couldn't move. They just kept moving with Grover, but the bull man hybrid tried to come at him. They both jumped away as the bull hybrid grabbed Sally. Mom! Percy screamed, as with a squeeze, she turned into golden dust, coming into the hands of Hades. Percy just stopped there, and anger erupted from him. Finally, at that moment, a black symbiote-like substance covered his body. A visor, almost like that of a blue, kind of showed up, for some reason reflecting his godly powers. White spiral-like symbols erupted as he turned bigger and badder. As he looked at him, this time, what was speaking was not Percy or Venom, but a combination of both of them voice as they look at him.
You won't pay for this!
As the Minotaur, seeing this, was confused. Of all of the half-bloods he has killed or been killed by, this was the first time he saw something was different. As immediately Percy gasped up, tentacles are rising as he immediately moved, kicking the monster away faster than anything it can. The monstrous beast tried to erupt on him as Percy didn't get up, moving at agile limbs. As he tried to hit him, Percy then jumped away. Immediately from Venom's back, black tendrils come, turning into spikes before stabbing into the Minotaur. As the Minotaur roared before Percy does it. Okay, so a lot of people say these guys won't be damaged, but let's face it, Venom here is something like a higher tier entity, aliens basically. So he's not mortalry. Plus, Venom and his race were all created by Null, the Black God, which technically means all of them are divine weapons. So yeah, as Venom slash Percy sends the Minotaur flying, the Minotaur tries to get back up, immediately forming from his hand an axe-like blade would be formed as he cuts the hand. The Minotaur would cry out in pain as it tries to erupt. Immediately Percy would grab his horns as the Minotaur tries, but Percy then breaks the horn, stabbing it straight to the eye before immediately punching it, as a hole straight from the brain to the mind would then go out, as Percy then grabs it. Before, with fear of anger, he stabs it a few more times, this time forming swords, as he erupts it. Meanwhile, from the other side, a horse-like clanking can be heard, as it would be Mr. Brunners, aka Chiron, as he sees it, immediately ready to fire his arrow, as he doesn't recognize who this is. Immediately sending the arrow goes, he immediately catches it, almost like some sort of spidey sense. As he looks at him, Mr. Brunners' blood goes cold. It was almost like death itself to stare at him. As then, adrenaline finally kicks up. As the Venom symbiote retreats back, it shows Percy as his falter. Once the Venom was confused. Chiron was confused at this moment. Percy was in the ground, knocked out, and whatever was covering his body just retrieved. And old Grover was also there. He went there and picked both of them up and started to go to Camp Half-Blood, wondering what the hell just happened and how did it happen. Meanwhile, above in the skies, the gods saw this, and they were confused as well. Poseidon was also confused seeing his son's transformation, wondering what that thing was. It was not part of his domain, nor was it any power he had. Percy said have powers over the water, ice and steam, anything water related, that's for certain. But that, whatever that was, it was not his. The guards immediately became scared, and Zeus was ready to strike him down. Ready to strike Camp Half-Blood now just to eliminate this. But Poseidon stopped him. He looked at him. If you dare hurt my boy like that, I shall make sure that you die. So you claim him as your child, don't you? Zeus says to Poseidon. Not yet. Zeus wouldn't sigh, knowing that he couldn't do anything until Poseidon claims the boy. After that, he'll do whatever he can. Well, Percy was knocked out. Meanwhile, in the dark corner of his mind, he was wondering what that was, as he was with Venom. What the hell was that?
Our transformation. It seems like we've finally reached the point. It's a symbiosis transformation. I gotta say, it's pretty unique. Slim, built properly, and not very bulky. Fitting to you perfectly. As quick as a warrior, I'm gonna guess.
I see, Percy says, sighing a bit, wondering what's gonna be happening next. What do you think is gonna happen next between us? I'm pretty sure a lot of people from camp probably saw it, but I don't know how many or who are the people that saw it. Venom's aside, wondering the same thing as Percy, wondering how this will affect his life as well. He came to this planet not expecting many things to happen to it, but already he was getting involved with this planet's pantheon, and already having a headache being formed. As Venom sighs to himself, thinking to himself, luckily there's only one pantheon of God. Meanwhile, across the Percy Jackson universe, in the Norse pantheon, the Egyptian pantheon, and many other pantheons carve. If you don't know, Percy Jackson doesn't only have like the Greek gods, they also have the Norse, the Roman gods, the Egyptian gods, and the Norse gods. How do I know this? Thanks to the Odyssey, was created by the same creator which is set on the same universe. So yeah, read Magnus Chase. It's a pretty good book. Anyways, back to my story. As the next few days passed, Percy was being fed, and as everything in the books happens. When it comes to Dionysus, Venom immediately tells, seeing this man, that he was a god. What god, he couldn't properly tell. He couldn't create each of the domains unless Venom didn't have an idea. He released one of his parts and went to Dionysus, who is none the wiser. After that, he came back, now finally getting the ability to, basically split away each domains of the gods. Not as any hostile takeover, but more in a way of to understand which god was on which side. Immediately wished for Japan. Percy Jackson about who this one was. Percy immediately looked at him before saying, "You're Dionysus." As Dionysus looked at him, "Well, I'll be damned. You're actually the first camper who managed to recognize me easily." Dionysus smiled a bit. "You know what, Percy? I kinda like you, as this basically shocked Chiron and Grover, as their mouth was just hanging on the floor, as they couldn't believe that Dionysus, the hater of demigods and hates being in this camp, does not only said Percy's name properly, but also the fact that he said, 'I like the kid.' This is what is a slap to the face feels like." Chiron couldn't believe what he just heard, and Percy was happy that he got an approval of a god, even if it was Dionysus, the god known for drinking and everything else. He just smiled at Dionysus. "Thank you, sir." As he gets out, as he does, you can see from the corner of his eye someone else looking at him, a certain blonde boy with a scar down his right eye, as he looks at Percy as well. He was wondering to himself what that power was. That power, it felt oddly familiar. No, not to me, but to you, didn't it? In his voice, a much more darker, malevolent entity spoke. "That's correct. I felt it too. If it means his army is coming sooner than later. I wondered, is the boy part of his invasion plan? Or is this just a straggler? Who are you talking about? He is known by many names, and as I've said, names are power. For now, if he's coming, I may not even want to start my war with the Olympians." "Are you nuts?" he then says. "What about our deal? Don't worry. We'll have your deal. If he isn't coming, and if once you figure out if the boy is part of his invasion or not, again, who is he you speak of? His name shall not be spoken. Just know that it's someone that even scares my mother." As immediately he takes a deep gulp, wondering who is this man that can scare Gaia. Meanwhile, in the dark essence of the abyss, something was there. Or was it a someone? it couldn't be shown. His body seemed to be lagging, as stalks of mud, seeming to be same as Venom starts to speak. The man just looks at it. Soon I will be free from this hell, and soon I shall continue. Those damn Clintons will pay for putting me here, he says in a raspy, godlike voice, his presence oohing destruction and chaos. As his eyes move around, wondering what other sort of machinations he will be planning. Meanwhile, somewhere in Olympus, someone else would have also seen this. It seemed to be a certain fox, as it was giggling watching the scene happening. He couldn't believe what was happening, but he knew that it was only a matter of time until he returns, until the King in Black comes to Earth once again. And this time, with all the pantheons split away and the Olympians being at worse than worst, he needed to gather his allies sooner than possible. But first, he needed to check this boy out. This Percy Jackson, son of Poseidon, yeah, he needed to know what his deal was. Especially since things are gonna be much more interesting for him and the future. And I'm gonna end it off here. Hope you guys liked this part. Yeah, it was really not that much of an action-packed part. It was more of a summary of what was gonna happen in the future. But hey, I have a lot of things planned for this series, and hopefully this gets a lot of views. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and bye. Also, no music because it's hard to find non-copyright version of Percy Jackson music. Also, what the hell was bata? Anyways, bye. See you all.